The crazy part is, there are literally hundreds of video topics. Okay, maybe not hundreds, but like tens of whatever video topics that we could go out there and discuss, commentary videos and everything in between that revolve around the Canucks and the Oilers, because not only was the game, Big Bad Game 7, something that we can dissect a little bit more. I don't think I did the best job in doing it yesterday, but that's because I recorded the video halfway through the game's, playing time. I did that stylistically, and I did that on purpose, so I don't regret it. But I do acknowledge that there were some extra things that happened in that game in particular that we could dive into. We can talk about the game, we could talk about the narrative of the Vancouver season, we can talk about what this game and the series meant to both of these teams. We can talk about how there was so much pressure on the Oilers, and maybe not as much on the Canucks. We can talk about the crazy fan wars that still seem to be going on from both of these teams. I get it, there are extreme fans on both sides, but for some reason, I just cannot shake away the feeling that Edmonton and Vancouver fans legitimately hate each other more than any of the other fans we have seen defeat one another in the playoffs this year. I don't see Boston or Florida fans going out there and arguing and lambasting each other as much as Canucks and Oilers fans are, even after the series has concluded. We also can talk about the idea that was tossed around out there too, that, oh yeah, Evan Bouchard severely outplayed Quinn Hughes. We can talk about JT Miller towards the end. We can talk about Petey's resurgence. We can talk about the Canucks' lack of proper wingers. There are so many things that we can talk about. And I don't know if I want to go out there and say, okay, here's like 5 videos in a day talking about different Canucks topics, because believe me, every one of these topics can be a video. And look, it's not just me. Like, if you want to go out there and make your own videos commentating about stuff and giving your opinions, then hey, okay, you can put me out of a job by doing this stuff. It's fine, it's the internet. Do whatever you want. But for me personally, what I wanted to do was kind of just go over Game 7 one more time and talk about where the Canucks went wrong. Because yesterday's video, as I had said, was recorded halfway through the second period, and I was so confident in my assessment of the game up to that point that I felt comfortable making a video before the game was even reaching the third period, because the Vancouver Canucks, at that point in time, only had 4 shots to the Oilers' 20. Artur Silovs had to step on his head and carry the entire weight of the franchise, of the building, of the city on his back. And the Canucks were not doing anything in front to give him help. Now, I will say, the game didn't end 3-0, 4-0 like I said it would. It was 3-0, but then it became 3-2, because the Vancouver Canucks in the last period of the game ended up scoring twice. They had a big resurgence, and the crazy part is, they actually did look really good towards the end. And for a brief moment in time, for a very brief moment in the third period, I was kind of thinking, okay, I'm going to have to delete that video. I'm going to have to delete the post-game video that we made that inevitably went public, but we're going to have to delete it because the Canucks are going to really give themselves a chance to come back and fight. If they tie this game, if it goes to overtime, if they end up winning, then okay, we are not uploading that video that I already recorded in the second period. But I was saying, you know what, hold on a little bit. We just gotta wait. We gotta see if they're able to play. And to their credit, they did play. They played. They'll play at the end of games. And the crazy part is, that surge of energy and the actual converting of chances and getting opportunities in the first place, that kind of washed away all of the negativity, I would say, from the fans who watched the first 40 minutes of that game and were extremely disappointed. I saw some people saying, okay, now the Canucks are going to score 2, they're going to make it close, and it's going to make the loss hurt even more. And then after the game, it was like, okay, the Canucks lost, but they were 1 goal away. They were 1 goal away from being tied with the inevitable Western Conference finalists. How crazy is that? And it spun into this entire narrative of being positive about the season and positive about the team, and I feel like my video yesterday was a little bit tone-deaf and clashing with the idea that was floating around on the radio and social media everywhere, because at the end of the game, at the end of the season, I feel like most Canucks fans were more so just expressing their gratitude rather than their disappointment in the game. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, of course, it is amazing what the Vancouver Canucks accomplished in 2023-2024. They were not supposed to be here. They were not supposed to have a Vezina finalist goaltender. They were not supposed to have a Jack Adams potential winning coach. They were not supposed to have a Norris potential winning defenseman. They were not supposed to have a Lady Byng nominee. They were not supposed to have a guy at 90 points on defense and another guy at 100 points. They were not supposed to be this good. But they were. And they found themselves in the second round and within one goal of tying Game 7 to advance to the third round. Is that bad? No, it's not bad at all. But I will say, just because the season as a whole was good does not mean we cannot talk about what went wrong for Vancouver in that Game 7. Because as the game was going on, I was getting pissed out of my mind, texting a lot of my friends, everybody's chatting up in the group chats about how bad the Canucks are playing. Everybody was a little bit more excited in the third period when Connor Garland scored and then eventually Filip Hronek scored. But throughout the first 45, 46, 49 minutes of the game, pretty much, the Canucks sucked. They could not convert in their chances. They created some chances, yeah. If you look at the money puck expected goals deserved to win-o-meter, the Canucks actually were the better team. The deserved to win-o-meter had the Canucks at more expected goals and more high-danger chances. You know why? Because in the money puck model, chances that are out in front where a player misses the net by a mile, those can still count as very high expected goals. Everybody saw Ilya Mikheyev dangle around Stuart Skinner and get that opportunity in the first period. That moment was like a pure expected goal. That should have been a goal. But Ilya Mikheyev shot the puck off the side of the net. That guy's got hands of stone. Some of the other opportunities, prime scoring chances in front. The Canuck who has taken the shot is right in the slot or he's right in front, but he whiffs it high and wide. Or JT Miller's shot right off the draw hits Nikita Zadorov in front because that guy's a net front presence. The Canucks did too little too late, and unfortunately for a team that has battled and tried to defeat adversity all season long, the biggest adversity comes within themselves when they decide to not show up and play hockey for 50 minutes out of 60 in a Game 7. It was only Connor Garland and Artur Silovs, really, who was doing the majority of the brunt work for Vancouver. Silovs because he had no choice, and Garland because he was like the only guy who actually looked like he gave a damn in the first 50 minutes. It's like shades of the opening days of the final Travis Green year, where the only guy that was really doing anything positive was Connor Garland. This game had a lot of that, and it was just so frustrating, so disappointing, so abhorrent to see the Canucks, who worked so hard and who are capable of so much more, completely disappear in the first 50 minutes of that game. They played well in the last 10 minutes. They played amazingly when they were trying to tie it up. You could see the talent on display. You could see the Oilers. They were on their heels towards the end. But the Canucks, they were passed out too long in this game to give the Oilers enough leeway to slug it out and eventually take the win. Had Vancouver started out the game with that intensity, who knows what would have happened? The entire dynamic of the game has changed. And so, with the what went wrong conversation, it really boils down to me about being able to keep up, about showing up. Because as we had said in the video yesterday, Vancouver played the best game of their entire postseason in Game 5 against the Oilers. They were tight, they were continuously getting chances, they won. Game 6, crapped the bed, did not show up. Game 7, for the first 50 minutes, crapped the bed. They did not show up. The game hurts not because, oh, it's because they lost, that's why you're feeling bad about it. It's not even like we had said yesterday, like, oh, they lost because they didn't show up and they totally crapped the bed, they'd embarrassed themselves. Now, you could say it's even worse, because they lost in a showcase where they did embarrass themselves, but then in the last 10 minutes, they showed that they actually do have the talent to make things work. They have the talent. They were good enough. Had they just played their best, they could have won. But they didn't show their best for 50 minutes in that game. And so, ultimately, I think that is where everything went wrong. And don't get me wrong, there will be other videos talking about this series and the Canucks and the elimination and where we can go from here and other peachy clean things to talk about because, of course, you know, I'm still kind of frustrated about the result of the game. But either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as to where Vancouver went wrong. I hope you enjoyed this video 99, and bye.